Welcome to BMW iX3, looking smart, stunning and familiar, yet today we are all electric. Without further ado, I say let's get out of here, hit the road and find out what this German beauty is all about. Okay, time to measure the acceleration, so let's sneak out of launch control. I'm going to put you into sport mode, the traction into sport, foot on the brake, foot on the throttle, and off we go. Show me what you got, BMW. Now it's the time to flex. Come on. So the declared 0 to 100 is 6.8 seconds and I am 6.29. Not bad for a car that weighs 2.7 tons. The top speed is 180 kilometers an hour. I do love my magic box from Race Logic. Every single time I do launch control, I love it even more. Is it me? It is me. I enjoy it. So let's begin by talking how this car feels when you trot around town at low speeds. You can pretty much get away with driving just in the B mode, which is the braking mode. Now what this means is that you are only using the throttle pedal. You're not touching the brake pedal. As soon as you lift your foot off the throttle, the car starts to slow down for you and it will come to a complete stop. There you go. It is very convenient and I love using it in town. Now it is also very smooth. I mean, so far my crown hasn't fallen down. It can be a bit of a hit and miss with other car manufacturers and their braking modes. Some tend to be quite jerky and you just get so frustrated and irritated that you essentially stop using these systems. It's not the case here. Now, convenient and smooth is one thing, but clever is another. Because of course, every time you lift your foot off the throttle, the car charges the battery for you. Now you can adjust the recuperation levels. I've just left it on adaptive and it does a brilliant job. And this car is very comfy. Adaptive dampers do come as standard, which is a lovely gift from BMW. You hardly feel any bumps and imperfections on the road, but the suspension here is firmer. It's not as fluffy as in the likes of Mercedes EQS, Audi e-tron. It is closer to Jaguar I-Pace, but there's a massive advantage to it, and about that a little bit later. Now, of course, in town, this car is serene, peaceful, very quiet. It is your own German cocoon. So we have an electric motor which pumps 286 horses, 400 Newton meters of torque, and it is being mounted at the rear, which makes this car rear-wheel drive. Now onto battery packs. So an 80 kilowatt-hour battery pack, but only 74 kilowatts is usable. That's because we need to keep some spare in order to prevent the battery damage. Now onto charging. So if you can get your hands on one of those fast chargers, 150 kilowatt hours, you can take this car from 10% to 80% in just 30 minutes. Now at home, one of those wall boxes, 7 kilowatt hours, from 0 to 100% in 12 hours. If you need a quick top up, you can do that in 10 minutes and you're going to get yourself a range of 97 kilometers, which is 60 miles, and that is pretty amazing. And as you hop on the motorway, you pick up a bit of speed. The comfort continues. Sure, you hear a little bit of tire and wind noise, but that's because you're paying more attention. Being electric, you've got no motor. And you know how it is in life, human nature is conditioned to bitch. Sooner or later, it is still such a brilliant, lovely, long-distance cruiser. We've got one speed automatic gearbox, no fuss. The change of gears is not your concern at all. The steering is nice and light. It's got a natural feel about it, but at the same time, it's got a very good response. And I wouldn't expect anything less of BMW. This car, reasonably large size, it is actually quite easy to maneuver. So we've got a good turning circle. So if you're maneuvering in and out of car parks frequently, don't let the size of this car be your concern, because you'll be just fine. And what about being a passenger in iX3? So I have adjusted both front seats for my height, which is just over 1.7 meters, 5'7", and I've got plenty of legroom. Very, very good headroom. I do love this sunroof running across. What about the middle seat? You've got a small hump on the floor, The space is alright. What is not alright is the sitting position, because you're not sitting like a lady. So it's alright for boys. You've got 2 USB-C ports in here, but the space here in the back is just as lovely as it is in the front. So let's pop you into sport mode and let's floor this thing. Oh boy, of course, being electric, got instant torque. This car is very punchy. You put your foot down, boy, it goes, and it goes good. What about around the corner? I'm not slowing down. Absolutely brilliant. I have to say, I was a little bit concerned initially because this is a heavy car, 2.7 tons versus the standard X3, which weighs 2 tons. I thought surely this is going to put some strain on their handling. Not the case. The handling here is brilliant. This car doesn't lean around the corners. It's very flat and planted. That's because we've got the battery sitting very low, so we've got a low sense of gravity, which is why I don't mind a slightly firmer suspension, because with the likes of Mercedes EQS and Audi e-tron, well, they're a bit like wannabe elephants around the corners, and you start to question if you want to be in those cars around the corners. Let the fire in, lose control. So in the sport mode, the suspension stiffens, you've got some weight added to the steering, the throttle response sharpens. Foot down, this thing is very punchy. The acceleration is just effortless. You really feel the sporty BMW soul coming through when you pop this car into the sport mode. Something that can be so easily lost when building an electric car. Now, another area in which many car manufacturers have failed miserably when building an electric car are the brakes. Here, the brakes, they're not too soft, they're not too grabby, they're just right. I have to say, no matter how hard you try, you simply cannot fault the driving dynamics of this car. We're in it for the big thrill, in it for the big win. And on to the cabin. Business as usual for BMW. Clean, uncluttered, well made. The quality of the materials, their fit and finish is very good. Straight on to practicality. Large bottle of water test. You can easily fit in the side pocket. In fact, next to it you have another deep pocket. Very, very handy. You can fit the bottle in here, Lovely. There's plenty of storage space. Big pocket in here. You've got the USB-C port. Lovely. You've got the wireless mobile charging in here. And if you don't want other people seeing who's texting you, what they're texting, you can just hide it away. Your dark, deep secrets. Perfect. I like the steering wheel. Got the controls here. Digital driver's display. Great graphics. Very pleasant to look at. And on to the infotainment system. So, we've got this big touch screen. It's got a bit of a mat to it, so it doesn't get too dirty. Okay, so this is the iDrive from BMW, which in my personal opinion, it is the best infotainment system available on the market, together with MBUX. Can't quite decide which one I like more. But in my personal car, I've got, of course, iDrive. So the system is very quick. It is very intuitive. Look how quickly it responds to my fingers. Because some cars and some systems, oh, they do like to take their sweet old time, don't they? Okay, you can also operate the system using the swivel down here, which I tend to use more often because it's far less distracting whilst you're driving, and you can pretty much get anywhere you need to get with just a swivel. It is brilliant. The iDrive, what can I say? Perfect. Also, really lovely screen. Down here you've got the volume control, you've got the climate control, just traditional knobs, very, very practical, because we know it seems to be a rocket science for some brands, because some brands like the sliders, so don't they just enjoy having the sliders? Not here. Here every button serves its purpose, and I like it like that. Last but not least, the seats are lovely. They're very, very comfy, very soft on long distance journeys. Actually, I do like this color combo, light beige with cherry. I think it's beautiful. It's such a beautiful color. I'm so glad it's not another gray. Oh, beige or black. I mean, for goodness sake, people, start buying some other colors. It's lovely. In my personal car, I have the same colors. Of course, I like it. Not the cherry. I've got the brown together with beige. And that's for the cabin. It looks familiar. It feels familiar. And it just is simply lovely. Alright, time to chat about the range. So the declared electric range is 450 kilometers, which is 279 miles. And you can easily achieve this figure when you trot around town. You don't even have to need a throttle pedal. But as soon as you hop on the motorway and you pick up a bit of speed, well, the more realistic figure is about 300 kilometers, which is 186 miles. I know, it's rather mediocre. So is the vast majority of other electric cars available on the market when it comes to the range. But if you don't drive long distances, this is a wonderful car for you. But either way, I would like to see this area improving with time, and this applies to all car manufacturers, because at some point in time we just want to have more flexibility and we want to see a better range. Isn't it strange the way that I look at you? So this electric pleasure will cost you just under £60,000 in the UK. The fact that this car comes only as rear-wheel drive can be a deal breaker for some. But if you live in a place where you don't get heavy snow or heavy rain, this is not your concern at all. The same applies to the average electric range. If you don't drive fast long distances on the motorway, it's not your concern at all. But if you're looking for comfort, space, practicality, a car that's well built with great infotainment system, fantastic driving dynamics, something that's elegant, classy, without looking futuristic, as some electric cars tend to look, then look no further. This is such a wonderful car. I actually really like it. It's one of the nicest electric cars I have driven, and I have driven quite a few. And this brings me to the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I shall see you all very, very soon. Bye!